Acid-based titration for Cambridge IGCSE Chemistry. IGCSE content includes the use of pipette and burette, indicator or titration endpoint, and how titration data is analyzed. If we start with the volumetric pipette, we have a pipette filler, the volumetric pipette itself, which has a volume mark or calibration point of, for example, 25 centimeters cubed. Now, it is designed to draw from a beaker a volume of solution up to that calibration point. The pipette is then transferred to an empty conical flask, for example, and the volumetric pipette is allowed to drain into the conical flask, so 25 centimeters cubed has been delivered. However, the design of the pipette is to retain a drop in the end of the pipette, so the 25 centimeters cubed is delivered with a drop remaining in the pipette. So let's look at the use of the burette in a titration, an acid-base titration. We'll take the alkali in the conical flask, 25 centimeters cubed, for example, add a few drops, 2-3 drops of methyl orange, for example. Place the conical flask underneath a burette that has been filled with an acid, for instance, hydrochloric acid. One notes the initial volume. You then allow the burette to drain, or the acid to drain into the alkali until a color change is achieved. You stop the flow of acid at that point and note the final volume. So the volume of acid delivered is the difference between the initial and the final volume reading on your burette. So we call that volume of acid a titer. So the titer is the volume of acid delivered, and that's the final volume minus your initial volume. What is meant by a titration or indicator endpoint? So we take the volume of alkali with indicator in a conical flask and place it under a burette containing some dilute acid, for example, and we run the acid into the alkali from the burette. Now, the indicator is chosen so that there's a color change at exact neutralization. The effects of acid on or alkali on 3 indicators are expected to be known. Most students will know that litmus is red in acid and blue in alkali. Thymolphthalin is colorless in acid and blue in alkali. So the first indicator, litmus, a second indicator, thymolphthalin. Now you may recall the colors of methyl orange in acid and alkali. If so, speak them out. Methyl orange is red in acid and yellow in alkali. Now, the volume at which the indicator changes color during the titration indicates exactly reacting quantities of acid and base and is called the titration or indicator endpoint. Please note, methyl orange is orange at the endpoint. It's a mix of red and yellow. Not all students or chemists can detect that, the orange color. So we definitely go from red to yellow or yellow to red, depending on what's being added to what. But the exact endpoint is known to be orange, but not all chemists are able to detect that. the analysis of titration data. The data obtained from a titration looks something like this. We'll have 25 centimeters cubed of alkali or acid delivered from the volumetric pipette into the conical flask. So that volume is known. We then carry out the titration to the end point, and we have recorded the final volume of acid in the burette, and we've also recorded the initial volume, which may be 0.0, but it also may be 0.6, whatever it is. So record the initial volume and the final volume. The difference between the two, of course, is the volume of acid delivered. So we know there was 25 centimeters cubed of alkali in the conical flask, following my slides where I put alkali into the conical flask. It could be an acid, but 25 centimeters cubed of alkali means we're running acid from the burette. The difference between the initial and the final volume readings on the burette, 17.6 centimeters cubed. So that's the volume of acid delivered. But to increase accuracy, titrations are repeated. So we do titration number 2. Starting with 18.2, we ran in acid to achieve 30.4 and a volume delivered as 12.2. And then titration number 3, starting at 30.4, finishing at 48.1, we've delivered 17.7 centimeters cubed. Now, you will realize, of course, that we then are going to discard the anomalous results. So titration 2 does not fit the pattern of titration 1 and titration 3, so we discard titration 2. Anomalous titers are discarded. Titers that agree are averaged to increase accuracy. So if they are within 0.1 centimeters cubed, so 17.6 and 17.7 are within 0.1, we say they agree. Add them together, divide by 2, gives you an accurate titer, an accurate volume of acid that reacts with 25 centimeters cubed of alkali. So the indicator changes color at exact neutralization. At that point, the titration endpoint, we have 4 pieces of data that are available. The volume of alkali that was in the conical flask and the concentration of the alkali, the volume of acid that has been delivered by the burette, and the concentration of that acid. Now, provided we have 3 of those 4 pieces of data, the 4th can be calculated. So let's look at a titration calculation. Calculate the concentration of dilute hydrochloric acid, HCl, given that 30 centimeters cubed reacted completely with 25 centimeters cubed of 1 mole per decimeter cubed sodium hydroxide. So we know the volume and concentration of the sodium hydroxide. We know the reacting volume of hydrochloric acid. That's 3 of the 4 pieces of data. We should be able to calculate the concentration of dilute hydrochloric acid in the reaction. We need the balanced chemical equation, which of course gives us a reacting mole ratio of 1 mole of hydrochloric acid reacting with 1 mole of sodium hydroxide. Now, I'm going to assume you've done quite a bit of chemistry at this point, so I'm going to say stop, carry out that calculation, come back to check your answer when you are ready. Okay, so here's my answer. I use volume times concentration to calculate the numbers of moles of sodium hydroxide. So that's the concentration at 1.0 and the volume in decimeters cubed, 0.025. Gives me 0.025 moles. It's a 1-to-1 reacting ratio, so the reacting moles of hydrochloric acid are the same number. But I also now have a volume of hydrochloric acid, So I know that concentration is moles divided by volume. Moles divided by volume gives you concentration. So moles, 0.025, volume, 0.030 in decimeters cubed, gives us a concentration of acid as 0.83 moles per decimeter cubed. So here is a second problem. Calculate the concentration of sulfuric acid, given that 20 centimeters cubed reacted exactly, that is to the titration endpoint, with 25 centimeters cubed of 1 mole per decimeter cubed sodium hydroxide. So I've kept it very simple. Same concentration and volume of sodium hydroxide. But please note the reaction equation is different. H2SO4 and 2 sodium hydroxides. The reacting mole ratio is 1 mole of acid to 2 of sodium hydroxide. You need to take that into account in the calculation of the concentration of sulfuric acid. Stop the class, carry out the calculation, come back to check against my model. Okay, so first of all, what are the moles of sodium hydroxide? Well, concentration times volume. Moles is volume times concentration. Comes out 0.025. But what are the reacting moles of sulfuric acid? It's not the same number. We've got 2 of sodium hydroxide to 1 sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is half the amount of sodium hydroxide. So the numbers of moles of sodium hydroxide times 1/2 is the moles of sulfuric acid, 0.0125 moles. We know the volume at 20 centimeters cubed, so we do moles divided by volume, comes out as 0.625 moles per decimeter cubed. If you prefer 3 significant figures, 0.625, or 2 significant figures, 0.63. If you want more practice, first use your textbook and then past paper questions. For more chemistry explained classes, look at the course list and links in the video description. If you found this helpful, please recommend Chemistry Explained to a friend. Subscribe for new classes, online assessment opportunities, and exam tips. Please like and comments are always appreciated. Thank you very much for watching.